What is up, guys? It's Cartman here, and you're watching WGS-TV.
Hello everyone, welcome to another installment of WGS-TV right here on Spreaker.com and YouTube.com/Wrestlegamer and ZFX-TV. I'm the Wrestlegamer WB Boudreaux, and along with James Big Easy, we'd like to welcome to you to a brand new set of reviews here on WGS-TV. Now, it was back in mid-September when yours truly first got the WWE Network, and one of the things...
$9.99?
For only $9.99. And one of the first questions I posted to everybody on the Facebook page was, what are some of the original programming that you guys would like me to check out and discuss with you guys here on the channel? And the first thing that came up was the Monday Night Wars. Now, since both me and James, we kind of grew up during the Monday Night Wars and figured, why not? I think right now we'd probably be the best two people to even talk about it right now. And I'm really like, James, how they first off they're putting this into a documentary series. They're not just doing like some one-off thing. They're trying to critically analyze like every different aspect of the Monday Night Wars, and I'm glad WWE Network is actually doing that.
And it's a great thing because really you want to have a different aspect for each thing that occurred during the wars. They talk about DX, the NWO, Stone Cold, the rise of Stone Cold, the rise of The Rock, the Divas division, and a lot of the other stuff that was critical to the war that was set up, basically.
Yep, definitely. What we're going to talk about, since this is the first, discussion and review of Monday Night Wars episode, we definitely got to talk about the first one. And I'm going to try to, hurry things along, and, I'm talking about the progression of reviews, the way we put them out, so that way we can actually get caught up to what they're actually, the latest episode, but, kind of 6 months behind, so please forgive me about that. But the war begins. Basically, what we're looking at here is a discussion on how both shows first got their start. How Monday Night Raw, kind of transformed. And for those of you who remember 80s wrestling, like me and James do, and I'm pretty sure Rick Head and the other guys remember it as well. The first primetime show WWE had on Monday nights was Primetime Wrestling, hosted by the legendary Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan. And they even go on to talk about how somehow it was getting a little formulaic. We would have the in-studio commentary of Gorilla Monsoon, and then it would just go to pre-tape matches. And to an extent, they were kind of right on that aspect, James. It was getting just a little bit formulaic on Primetime Wrestling, but I think would you say that's kind of how the business was back in that day?
Exactly. Really, is that if you look at how it was in the beginning, you have all these different, like they never had it live, like, oh, we gotta have a live special, type stuff. And they always do it in the 80s and 70s, when they had televisions back then. It would be always like matches were already taped like a couple months in ahead, and then now you're seeing it for like the first time. And
Yep, but as wrestling was progressing into the 90s, that formula really wasn't spanning, it wasn't really working for the wrestling fans of the time. So WWE decided to change it up and doing a live program. Now, they were live on Monday Night Raw in the beginning for a little while, but Vince McMahon would even say in the episode about financial issues, because WWE really wasn't raking in the money at that time. I remember we said at that time.
exactly, because really your moneymaker was really Hogan, but they don't have like the advertisements and merchandises that they have nowadays.
Exactly, definitely. And they also go on to talk about how Eric Bischoff became the executive producer in WCW, and would go to Ted Turner, and Ted Turner, went to him and came up with the question, how can we compete with Vince McMahon? And even Eric Bischoff said, he just threw the question out because he didn't think Ted Turner would actually do it. was give him prime time, a Monday night prime time slot, and Ted Turner agreed to it, and they moved it to TNT to compete with Monday Night Raw. And one of the things I do love, they do discuss some of the tactics that Eric Bischoff used, James, when it came to gaining viewership, gaining ratings for Monday Nitro. And one tactic, even though a lot of the guys backstage didn't agree with it because they thought it was an underhanded tactic, in the business at that time, and that was giving away the results of the pre-taped Monday Night Raw, because Monday Night Raw at that time became a pre-taped show, because this man, like we said earlier, it was becoming a financial hazard to do the show live. It was costing him a lot of money. He wasn't gaining that money at that time period, and they reduced to doing shows, pre-taped shows, and Eric Bischoff would give away the results of that Monday Night Raw. James, when we heard that first back in the day, because I heard that quite a few times when I first started watching Monday Nitro, did you what was your reaction to that?
Well, at that time, I was still young at that time. I was only 5, really, when all this stuff occurred, when that first happened. And really, it's like, when you grow older and then you think about it like in the past, because really it's basically what it is right nowadays, is that, you spoil, but then at the same time they knew that WWE is struggling, not with just financial, but how they also talked about in the war, I think also in later episodes too, like how WWE didn't create the correct characters. They basically was like kiddish, like all these different random gimmicks, like the Goon,
the gobbledygooker.
Oh, that was 90s. That was like early 90s. That's before the war.
One of the things that was discussed in the first episode of the documentary was, the separation of wrestling fans. There were WCW fans, there were WWE fans, and there were fans of both products. And I could tell you guys to a certainty that I was a fan of both products. Because I would always find myself every Monday night glued to the TV watching Monday Night Raw. As got a little kid here giving some trouble. And sorry about that, guys and gals. But yeah, every Monday night I would go back and forth between Raw and Nitro, just to see what kind of product they were putting out, what were they doing at that time. And to me, that was a good era for wrestling, because there was a lot to see and a lot to. Well, we didn't really have a chance to discuss it before the advent of YouTube and podcasts and whatnot. But I gotta say this though, WWE really didn't fire back until they did the whole thing with Billionaire Ted's Wrestling War Room, James. And I gotta say this. They had Vince Russo in there portraying a character, and I love the Huckster and the Nacho Man. But the reason why I bring up that one, because the Nacho Man, because I'm eyeballing it. I never looked it up on Wikipedia, but I can eyeball it because I watched a lot of NWA. And I want to say with about a 95% certainty that the Nacho Man was portrayed by gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. And if you guys don't know who it is, look him up. He was an NWA wrestler, and he kind of has the same facial features as a gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. So that's why I bring that up. And the fact of the matter is, you would think at first that with WWE parroting them in the sense that Ted Turner and Eric Bischoff would actually be upset about it, but apparently that wasn't the reaction, James. They actually thought it was funny.
Yeah, that's the main thing, really, is that, as I said before, it's like, it's the characters. They think it's funny because it's like they didn't view it as a threat, Me, myself, I was a fan of both products, too, myself, especially in that and during that war, how, I would go back and forth. My brother would record Raw live, and live, quote unquote, and the Nitro, like, they had a rerun like at late at night, so we record both of them, and I just watched back on the VHS. But you know, the thing really is that you see like they WWE thought it's just them being them. The fact that it's it's WCW, it's old country wrestling. It's not gonna be a threat, but look what happened.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing that people actually consider to be the first real shot of the Monday Night Wars was the defection of Lex Luger to WCW. They even discuss it in detail, the ongoings backstage, about how Lex Luger's contract was running out, and Eric Bischoff was in secret, offering up a contract, but he had to really keep it under wraps. And one thing that Lex Luger even says in this episode was that he felt that it wasn't right, because he was very loyal to WWE. WWE was treating him good, and he didn't want to leave on bad terms. But Eric Bischoff made him a deal to come back to WCW, to come work with Sting again, Hogan, Savage, and all those guys, and he actually took it. And when Lex Luger walked out on that Nitro, the very first episode of Nitro, and I even remember the match, Sting versus Ric Flair, and everybody just looked in astonishment of Lex Luger, who worked a house show for WWE the previous night, and then the next night he was in WCW. And that was kind of unprecedented in the wrestling industry at that time, James, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and that's really what was the main factor in the wars. Mostly, it's like anybody who defected, you would see him either the next night or the next week. They didn't have a 90 days no compete clause like how it is right now, and you don't know what happened. You see Luger right there in the old days, right there, just like, wait, isn't he in WWE? You don't have that luxury nowadays. You see all the stuff online now. But during the time where there's no internet and you had to subscribe to a magazine to maybe look at some spoilers or whatnot, but if you see the surprise right on your TV, you'll be like, the surprise factor is always great in that era.
Yes, indeed. And guys and gals, that's pretty much going to be it for our first review of the Monday Night Wars, Episode 1, The War Begins. And again, guys, I look forward to watching more of the documentary series and discussing it more right here with you guys on WGS-TV. So with that being said, guys and gals, if you have any comments, be sure you put them in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and favorite this video. James is over on Twitch. James, where can they check you out?
Yeah, I'm on twitch.tv/fatboy504. I'm also on Twitter at twitter.com/fatboy504. Just find Fatboy504 on Twitter. Right now on Twitch, I'm doing just gameplays. I'm in and out. I don't broadcast that much as I used to be, but I'm still gonna broadcast. I'm gonna do Destiny, WWE, NBA, and Madden.
Guys and gals, if you're listening on Spreaker.com or SoundCloud.com, be sure you hit that follow button if you like what you hear. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Facebook.com/WGS-TV, and don't forget to please subscribe to YouTube.com/Wrestlegamer and YouTube.com/ZFXTV Network if you haven't already. So for James the Big Easy, I'm the WrestleGamer, Double Billy Boutro, saying thank you very much for watching.
ECW, ECW, ECW.